Some sounds are just pure 90s. They're time capsules. You hear them and you're instantly transported back. Think about it. That squealing horn, the heavy bass, and a command so simple, so universal, it started a party that basically never stopped. Jump around. An entire generation knew exactly what to do. The guy behind that voice, Erik Schrody, seemed to have it all. Fame, money, and global recognition as the frontman of a cultural phenomenon. But what if I told you that just a few years later, at the absolute peak of his fame, his heart literally stopped? This isn't just a story of a rapper with a massive hit. It's the story of a man who had to nearly die to truly start living. And he came back with a song that topped both the mainstream and modern rock tracks charts. I know what it's like to sing blue. Long before the world knew Everlast, there was Erik Francis Schrody, a kid born in 1969 in Valley Stream, Long Island. Like a lot of kids his age, he got hooked on the raw energy of hip-hop. His family eventually landed in Los Angeles' San Fernando Valley, where he ended up at Taft High School, the same school future legends like Ice Cube passed through, sealing his fate in the world of hip-hop. If The Offspring's album Americana took aim at white suburban kids embracing hip-hop culture, Everlast was a clear example of that changing demographic. While he grew up in the suburbs, he wasn't spending his time at the country club. Instead, his father worked construction, and his family hit some pretty tough times. He admitted to Spin magazine that there were some years where they were on food stamps. It was by the 80s they made the trek back and forth between LA and New York as his dad was chasing jobs before they permanently settled in Los Angeles. He fell in with the right crowd, taking a liking to Run DMC and becoming a protege of the one and only Ice-T. He joined his creative crew, the Rhyme Syndicate. Everlast adopted his stage name when he started out as a hip-hop artist as a teenager in Los Angeles. The name Everlast was chosen as part of his persona, a play on his endurance in the competitive rap scene, and possibly referencing Everlast, the iconic boxing brand, which suited the tough, streetwise image he cultivated early on in his career. And in 1990, Everlast made his first solo album, Forever Everlasting. It was a decent first step, but it wasn't a hit that he was looking for. Not helping was that his label really did little to promote the lead single, I Got the Knack, which sampled My Sharona. Seeing that the solo thing wasn't quite working, Everlast made a brilliant move. He decided to lean into his Irish-American heritage, which was definitely not something you saw in hip-hop at the time. He linked up with friend Danny Boy and DJ Lethal, who was of Latvian descent, to form a new group. They present themselves as a rowdy, beer-loving, unapologetic hooligans, and they called themselves House of Pain. Everlast told Spin, "You talk to most black cats and they know one crazy white boy. We represented one out of every 20 white boys who was just flat out crazy, breaking bottles in his teeth and going down swinging." In 1992, they dropped their self-titled debut album, and with it, a cultural atom bomb, Jump Around. It was more than a song, it was a worldwide order. That blaring horn sample and pure energy was everywhere. MTV, sports stadiums, every single party, and it later ended up in movies to signify that time period. The song peaked at number 3 on the Hot 100 chart in the States, and the album went platinum as well. Overnight, Everlast was now the face of one of the biggest groups on the planet. They toured with rock gods like the Ramones and alternative giants Rage Against the Machine, proving they could cross over to any crowd. House of Pain had built an empire on a single command, and Everlast was sitting on top of the world. I came to get down, so get out your seat and jump around. But that kind of party can't last forever. Being known for one monster hit is both a gift as well as a curse. For House of Pain, Jump Around became a creative cage. They released 2 more albums, but they never recaptured that lightning in a bottle. The cracks also started to show. On the same day that their 3rd album was released in 1996, Everlast announced that he was out. House of Pain was officially closed for business. Everlast was abusing drugs at the time. He got sued by the IRS. He lost the woman of his dreams, and he got involved in a nasty business battle with both his management and his record label. He also had to sell his Hollywood Hills home, and he also lost his SAG card. If you guys remember, he had a minor role in the movie Judgment Night and also contributed to the soundtrack. On top of all of that, he was sentenced to house arrest for carrying a gun onto a plane. By 1997, he admitted to Spin magazine he only had $12 in his bank account. So once again, Erik Schrody was on his own, but this time something was different. The swagger was gone, replaced by a kind of weary soul-searching. He was older, he'd seen the crazy highs of fame and the sting of it fading away. He picked up a guitar, an instrument that he played for years but never really brought into his music. He started writing, but not with the bravado of a party starter, but with the heart of a storyteller. He was building a new sound from the ground up, blending rock with gritty blues and folk. This new project became Whitey Ford Sings the Blues, a deeply personal and artistically bold album. He poured all of his frustrations, hopes, and observations into it, and after 5 intense months, the record was done. It was a masterpiece, a total reinvention that was set to redefine his career. He was on the verge of the ultimate comeback. He admitted at the time, "I'm a little older and the music is more mature. It's different from House of Pain, which was about drinking beers and slam dancing." The record was a reflection of the trials and tribulations that Everlast had gone through the last several years. At the same time, he slammed popular rappers like Puff Daddy, or his current moniker P. Diddy, stating, "We've seen the rap karaoke thing one too many times. Now cats take an entire old song and put a few updated slang words in it, and it's the hip thing."
Goes out to everyone that is lost.
Then in February of 1998, his world went black. He collapsed, rushed to the hospital. He was dead for a few minutes, but then he came back to life. Everlast got a terrifying diagnosis from the doctors. He had a torn aortic valve caused by a congenital heart defect he never knew he had. Couple this with years of substance abuse, and smoking, and stress, and it was the perfect storm. Perhaps in a sign of foreshadowing, prior to his medical scare, Everlast had been working on several songs including Painkillers and Death Comes Calling. Everlast was soon wheeled into emergency surgery for a new artificial valve to save his life. The rowdy frontman who told millions to jump was now in a hospital bed, his life hanging on by stitches and machines. The party was officially over. The fight for his life was just beginning. Now, of course, you don't just walk away from a near-death experience unchanged. For Everlast, it was a brutal wake-up call. The man who woke up after surgery wasn't the same one who went in. The experience crushed his ego and forced him to look at his own mortality in the eye. He'd already converted from Catholicism to Islam in 1996, and this brush with death no doubt deepened that spiritual journey. He prayed daily, he observes Ramadan, and even expressed regret over his tattoos. But he also had a very different view of organized religion than a lot of people, admitting, even though I would consider myself still to be a Muslim, I don't really. I really kind of reject all organized religion. When a bunch of people get together and are spiritual and they feel good about each other, great things can happen. But when you start enforcing your philosophy and ideals on other people who don't necessarily share them all, it turns into Palestine and Israel. When he was well enough to face the world again, he did it with a new sense of purpose. The songs he had written also took on a deeper meaning, with him admitting to the Gannett news service, "I heard a lot of things I didn't hear before, things that I had written about subconsciously. I was able to hear it loud and clear, whereas before it was like all hidden messages," adding, "Everything on my record is me talking to me." In September of 1998, Tommy Boy Records released Whitey Ford Sings the Blues, and it was a slow burn. I do want to point out that the unsung hero of the album was co-producer Dante Ross, who pushed Everlast to go with his gut. Everlast told Billboard, "I was in New York with Dante making a rap record, and I was playing on the guitar one night just chilling on the couch and playing What It's Like, and he came out of his bedroom like, 'What is that?' We went in there to record the song, and the next thing you know, we're doing this whole different style record." Upon the album's release, the marketing team was working 2 songs. One was What It's Like to modern rock radio, with Detroit station 89X taking an immediate liking to it. They also issued the song Money to R&B and college radio. By 1998, Everlast seemed like a grizzled veteran of the hip-hop scene with a tiny following. But a few months after the album dropped, MTV picked up the video for What It's Like, and it helped launch the album into the stratosphere. Radio was initially hesitant to add the song, but then it did something really unique. It accomplished a rare feat. What It's Like not only topped the mainstream rock tracks chart, it also topped the alternative rock chart. It helped propel the album to go double platinum in America. Everlast's sound was unlike anything else out there. a grovelly voiced troubadour rapping and singing over acoustic guitars and dusty drum breaks. Leslie Fram, the program director for Atlanta station 99X, a modern rock station, told Spin, radio has struggled with rock rap stuff, but with Everlast, both styles work so well together that you don't have to hide the song late at night somewhere. Everlast, meanwhile, added, it's a hip-hop song, but all these rock stations had to fool themselves into thinking it wasn't so that they could play it. The lead single, What It's Like, became a different kind of anthem. It was a somber, empathetic story that asked you to imagine the lives of the downtrodden. A struggling pregnant woman, a homeless man, a sinner facing judgment. A bluesy riff and subdued backbeat provided the base for a series of hard luck stories. That famous chorus wasn't just a lyric, it was his worldview. It was a plea for compassion from a man who had just been given a second chance. The song, being a huge hit, proved that audiences were ready to follow Everlast on his new, more mature path. Other notable tracks included the heartbreak songs 7 Years and The Letter, while Money and Ends chronicle the musician's difficult relationship with, well, money.
Please, bring my baby home. It makes you popular with people. I go back to the 80s like 3 times.
The reinvention was complete. A year later, he collaborated with legendary Carlos Santana on the song Put Your Lights On for his album Supernatural. The track won them a Grammy Award, cementing his place not as a former rapper, but as a respected and versatile artist.
Leave your lights on. Better leave your lights on.
The Irish hooligan was gone. In his place stood the hip-hop troubadour, a title he had earned through pain, reflection, and pure talent. However, his career took a combative turn when he entered into a high-profile feud with rapper Eminem. The beef allegedly started after a brief, tense backstage encounter where Everlast felt he was snubbed. This led to a series of diss tracks, including Everlast's Whitey's Revenge and Eminem's brutal I Remember, where he mocked Everlast's career and heart condition. The feud solidified his rough-edged persona even as he was exploring more soulful music. However, the beef has since been quashed, with Eminem seemingly giving a shout-out to Everlast on the Marshall Mathers LP2 on the song titled Baby. After the huge success of Whitey Ford Sings the Blues, Everlast could have easily tried to repeat the same formula. But he did the exact opposite. He leaned into his artistic freedom, releasing albums like the follow-up Eat It Whitey's and White Trash Beautiful that continued to mix genres while tackling personal and social issues with raw honesty. With his follow-up Eat It Whitey's, he mixed hip-hop with violins, cellos, guitars, and sitars. The suggestion came to him from his producer, with Everlast admitting he wasn't thrilled with the suggestion at first. On that same album, he ended up working with Beck's father, David Campbell, and it saw more collaboration with Be Real of Cypress Hill on Deadly Assassins and Carlos Santana on Babylon Feeling.
Pretty lady, won't you take me home? Black Jesus, white Moses.
But don't think for a second he'd forgotten his roots. In 2006, Everlast reunited with his old House of Pain crew, Danny Boy and DJ Lethal, to form the hardcore hip-hop supergroup La Coca Nostra.
I'm already knowing your plot. It happened so fast, you won't even know that you shot.
It was a project that screamed one thing loud and clear. Erik Schrody couldn't be boxed in. He could be the bluesman with a guitar and at the same time a hardcore rapper, and both were 100% authentic. His unique sound also caught the attention of Hollywood. In 2007, he was asked to write and perform the theme song for the gritty TV drama Saving Grace, starring Holly Hunter. The song, also titled Saving Grace, perfectly captured the show's tone of struggle as well as redemption. But his biggest transformation was still to come, and it wasn't about music. He married his wife Lisa and became a father. Then his life took a dramatic turn when one of his daughters was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis. Faced with this new overwhelming challenge, the guy who had toured the world and topped the charts made a simple choice. He stepped back. He cut his touring way down to be a husband and a father, putting his family's health far ahead of his career. His latest release came in 2018 with Whitey Ford's House of Pain. So if you've ever wondered, hey, what happened to Everlast? He didn't just disappear. He evolved. He found a new purpose that had nothing to do with stage lights, platinum records, or sold-out arenas. Everlast's journey from a global party starter to a soulful, introspective artist is is one of the wildest transformations in music. His ability to reinvent himself after facing life-altering events is a masterclass in resilience. Can you guys think of any other artists who managed to pull off such a dramatic and authentic transformation? Drop their names in the comments below. And hey, if you enjoyed the story, do me a solid and hit that subscribe button for more deep dives into artists who shaped our world. That brings us to the end of today's video, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again on Rock and Roll True Stories. Take care.